a wonderful memorable occasion to honour the 3 degrees with this wonderful celebration statue.
A statue of 3 former West Bromwich Albion footballers who paved the way for black players in the 1970s has been unveiled in New Square in the redeveloped town centre. The players honoured are Brendon, Batson, Laurie, Cunningham and Cyrille Regis, and they quickly established themselves as fans' favourites. Sadly, Brendon is the only one of the trio to still be alive.
It's a day of mixed emotions for me. So this is the statue for the 3 of us. I think it really symbolises the black players of that era, the resilience that they showed to become professional footballers, and we just wanted to be players. We just happened to be black.
It had nothing to do with them being black that they were in the team. They were in the team because they were well worth the place. You know, I'm a great believer in whatever. Talent is the all-important thing. And they had enough talent and enough character to be regulars in the side and go on to great careers.
I mean, it's a fantastic honour for the lads, and it's great for the people of West Bromwich to have it here, and they can all come and do the shopping and and just reflect on those days when these lads played and what they had to put up with.
Really, Laurie, Cyrille and myself, and on behalf of their families who are here today, it's a thank you to the town of West Bromwich and to the club of West Bromwich Albion for making us so welcome when we first arrived here. We had difficult journeys to get to where we wanted to be as football players. We talked about black players, but we were just football players trying to make our way. And it became much easier when we came together, and particularly at West Bromwich Albion Football Club, because of the team that we joined. Our teammates made us very, very welcome, and also the people of West Bromwich. Because as we went up and down the country, we took a bit of abuse, but here within the Midlands, wider, and still has obviously a great connection with Coventry City Football Club, you made us all very, very welcome. And so I'd like to thank everybody involved. I've done my thank yous inside, everybody involved in making this statue possible.
Well, it's been a long time in the planning, and sadly, of course, Cyrille passed away before the statue was completed. He did, however, get the chance to see a model of the statue, and I spoke to him at a foundry on Middlemore Road near the Hawthorns when it was first shown to the media.
What was your reaction when somebody said there was going to be a statue?
Well, it's very humbling. I mean, you don't wake up one day and think there's going to be a statue about you. And most times statues are up, it's usually dead. But when Jim said, I've got this idea of celebrating the wave of black players in football back in the late 70s, and you 3 being the apex, and we're thinking of putting a statue in West Bromwich, it was just very humbling, very surreal, because you don't think that no one wakes up and thinks there's going to be a statue about you being erected.
Now that you've seen what it's going to look like, what do you think?
Yeah, it's excellent. Derek done a superb job, the detail, and just getting the framework of us celebrating together, which is just apt. Celebrating the goals, breaking down racial stereotypes. So Derek's done a great job.
Here's a look back at Cyrille's early career at West Bromwich Albion in a report which was first shown on Big Centre TV. As the footballing season of 1977-78 got underway, the West Midlands found a new hero. His name was Cyrille Regis. He'd been snapped up by West Bromwich Albion for just £5,000 in May 1977, and he made a startling debut in the League Cup, scoring twice in a 4-0 win at home to Rotherham. His league debut in the first week of September was the stuff of legends. A stunning goal helped the Baggies to beat Middlesbrough, and he'd scored 6 first-team goals before the month was out. West Brom supporter John Homer was mesmerised by his skill.
In terms of Cyrille Regis, or his debuts in the League Cup and in the league against Rotherham and Middlesbrough respectively, and power, pace, there's only one Cyrille Regis. I thought as a footballer he could achieve anything. I saw him at the bar at Birmingham City in one of his early games, and the ball rebounded past the halfway line. He hit it that hard, and he was just, it was indescribable. Albion had been searching for a hero since Jeff Astor left us in 1974, and 2 or 3 people tried to plug the gap, but I can honestly say that nobody did it until Cyrille Regis came along as a number 9 he was par excellence.
Albion scout and soon-to-be manager Ronnie Allen, a former England and Albion centre-forward, was so convinced of Cyrille's potential that he had offered to buy him with his own money. Significantly, Cyrille had joined the club with another, rare at the time, notable black player in Laurie Cunningham. When fullback Brendan Batson joined West Brom in 1978, the trio were given the nickname the 3 Degrees, and they were targeted for racial abuse at games, which they overcame in style. Currently a statue is being created of the trio, which will take pride of place in West Bromwich Town Centre, and Cyrille attended an event to show off the design of the statue. Jim Cadman is one of those who was behind the planning and financing of the statue.
Isn't it? So what are your thoughts, Dan?
7 years is a long time, but it's worth taking your time to do things properly. I mean, after all, when we came here 7 years ago, it was a cold winter's day, it was a building site, and Graham Ibbotson actually envisaged what this would look like. Be in the right position for the sun to shine on it and make it look even better than it actually is. It really does look quite remarkable. And I'll have to tell you, the people in the background having the photograph taken will not be the last. You'll never have a day without people wanting the photograph taken with this. It really is a phenomenal thing for the fans of West Brom.
We've got there in the end, in my lifetime, although my father, who subscribed originally, sadly he's not here to see it, and I know quite a few others of the original subscribers are not, but this is a fitting tribute to them, and more especially to the players, the 3 Degrees, who absolutely deserve a permanent monument to what they did.
An event organised by Sandwell Libraries to celebrate Black History Month was held at Smethwick Library, with legendary baggy star Cyrille Regis and Brendon Batson taking part in a question and answer session in front of nearly 200 people. Before the event I spoke to them, and they both agreed that much had been done to kick racism out of football, but there was still much to do.
There's always more to be done. I mean, racism in football has been going on. Racism per se is there for hundreds, thousands of years. And so education, the laws of the game, and the thing is, you're not going to change people's hearts. What you can do is, when you see racism, you've got to stamp it down very vigorously. Over the years, I've done many events. I've been part of Kick It Out of the PFA and Let's Give Racism a Red Card and various issues. And so, yeah, over the years, it's getting less and less and less because, you know, you've got new kids on the block like Sterling and the different modern players. Yeah. But yeah, over the years, I've done many things like this, yeah.
Well, it's a lot better than it was when I first started off back in the early 70s. Much better. I think we should be very proud of what we've achieved in England, certainly with combating racism. When you look farther afield, there's still a bit to do, obviously. You can never be complacent, but it certainly has improved a great deal from the early days when black players first started to come into the fore.
And what's your role today then? Because you still do lots of work now about racism in football.
Well, I'm in a trustee of the PFA. I've always been involved in anti-racism stuff since we started off the campaign in '93. With he was playing Herman Ousley at the time. He's now Lord Ousley. Great idea. He had to align. He was chairman of the CRE, and he wanted to have a focal point to attack the issue of racism, use football. And the slogan we used at the time, I still think it's one of the best slogans we had, was "It's only the colour of your shirt that counts." And it wasn't just about black players; it was about the game. And I remember when I was at a dinner last night talking to Pat Nevin's sister-in-law, and so what a great guy he was. He became chairman of the PFA. But when we launched the campaign in '93, we had people like Pat Nevin and Gary Mabbott, Ian Wright, Paul Elliott, and all the black players, you know, Cyrille, all supporting it. So it wasn't just a black issue, it was about the game. And I think it gave a voice to those supporters who didn't enjoy and didn't like what was going on within stadiums, and it gave them a voice.
Inevitably, the discussion also turned to Laurie Cunningham.
Laurie, to me, was aesthetically the best player to watch. He had so much balance, so much grace, so much style. I haven't seen a player that runs with the ball like that, with so much balance, so much style. That 5-3 game that Alan talked about, I can still hear the commentary. Was it Gerald Stintz there? Yeah. Laurie's coming down the right wing, and all I can hear Gerald saying, Laurie coming with the grace and pace and style.
Brendon and others are continuing to work at kicking racism out of football.
The campaign had a lot, and it was relevant in '93. It's still relevant now.
And your memories of the 3 degrees?
Oh, big part of my life, really. Laurie Cunningham, I saw him play that night in Valencia when he effectively sold himself to Real Madrid. Best individual performance I've ever seen from a player. And Cyrille came along. I think we were looking for somebody to replace Jeff Astle, and a few people had tried over the years, and then along came Cyrille, and he was as close as you could get to replacing the King. And Brendon was a star in his own right too, so very happy memories. It's just a shame 2 of them are not here now.
They were part of a great team, scored great goals. The only thing wrong at that time is that we never won a trophy, which is a massive shame, because we've never had a team like it since.
I just grew up with Cyrille. When I was my first game was '78 when I was 7, and he was my all-timer. Still is, always will be. You know, absolute legend, Cyrille, and Laurie as well. Just Batson. They were just a big part of the club's fabric. You know,
I think they were all 3 different characters, and I think Laurie he's the best player I've ever seen in an Albion shirt, and I think the modern comparison you can think is Gareth Bale. He was that good, and the fact that he had his career ruined by his own teammates at Real Madrid, basically kicked from pillar to post, is shocking. And I think if Cyrille now was still around, he'd have 80, 90 caps. He'd be leading the line for England, and Brendon the other side of the coin. He was a flair player, but he was a very solid, dependable fullback, and could get up and down the pitch. And so they were just 3 special players, really.
Yeah. And Cyrille as well as a person. Just met him a couple of times. He did a charity thing for us in the indoor market, and he was just such a fantastic bloke. Couldn't do enough for for anybody. Stayed there all afternoon. He was just such a fantastic bloke.
My memories, 3 degrees. I remember going up one night in September to watch Albion play Rotherham, and we had a new player called Cyrille Regis. Absolutely fantastic. And the strange thing was, I met Cyrille Regis on the day that he signed for the Albion up at the training ground, and he signed a piece of paper, because if I remember rightly, Albion reserves were playing Saudi Arabia in the friendly, and he come up to me, signed me a piece of paper, and he said to me, "I'm not Laurie Cunningham." And I said, "I know that." And then as the season progressed, these 3 come together, and it was just the best time of my life. Walk over coals to see this team, it was just the best.
Cyrille passed away in January 2018, and there was later a special commemorative service to celebrate his career, which was held at Coventry Cathedral. Hello, I'm Norman Bartlam, and welcome to Coventry Cathedral to celebrate the life of former England footballer Cyrille Regis. It was in this city 30 years ago that Cyrille won the FA Cup with the Sky Blues. And by coincidence, this is the 40th anniversary of the day in which Cyrille played in the same team with Brendon, Batson and Laurie Cunningham for the very first time, and they became known as the 3 Degrees. Brendon, the only survivor of the trio, was one of many who spoke about his former teammate. Cyrille's wife and children were in the congregation, so too were many other former players and people associated with his footballing past.
I think probably bittersweet is the phrase, isn't it? So many wonderful goals, so many wonderful matches, wonderful memories of the man both on and off the field.
Having played over 600 games yourself, you obviously know a good player when you see one. And Cyrille obviously was one of those top-class players.
Without any shadow of doubt, he was an absolutely outstanding player. He was an England international after all said and done. And when he joined Coventry, he was the big name in the team, and he lived up to that all the time that he was here.
Obviously, Cyrille was a very, very special friend. With the '87 Cup final team, we're all close, we all get together. Cyrille was a phenomenal man, a great player, and so very proud of knowing him.
Now, I suppose hardly a day ever goes by, does it, without somebody mentioning the cup final in 1987. You must never grow tired of it, though.
No, it's a really wonderful memory, and it was where people were talking about Cyrille's legacy today. It was a very moving service, I've got to say. But I think all of our legacy will be the 1987 Cup final. It's going to follow us all to our graves, I think, in a good way, of course. I'm just gutted that he ain't here to see this today.
Quite,
you know.
Quite.
But it's you know, that's great honour for him. You know, this is great, man. Well deserved as well.
So that's it from this edition of Doorstep History. Very much hope you've enjoyed the programme. Goodbye, and thanks for watching.